getting your dog posted. So now what's going to happen is you're going to start getting emails. Usually they're going to come from Rachel. She's forwarded those emails to you. Those are what we call, there's two different types of emails you're going to get. This is where everything gets really kind of hinky and confusing. There is an inquiry. Yep. An inquiry is someone, go ahead.
Hi, I saw this dog on your website. I was wondering if they're still available.
Yeah. Okay, so Rachel has gotten that inquiry. She has now looked at the foster list and said, okay, that dog is with Lori. And so she's going to send that email to Lori. That is just for you to say, hi, yes, Frankie's in my home. He's this, he's that, he's awesome, he eats my shoes, he's all these great things. If you're really interested, I'd love to continue a conversation. I'm going to recommend first, though, you go to the website and fill out the application. Because that's going to help you start weeding out on who's going to spin your wheels and waste your time.
Yep.
And sometimes it's no big deal. If you only have one foster and you don't mind the conversations and seeing where it goes, that's great. I've got 22 puppies in there. I don't have time for conversation with 22 people. So I'm going to try to weed them out really quick.
Yep.
Great place to start is to go to our website and fill out our application. And then at that point, we can move forward.
Yep.
Simply because I'm trying to narrow it down. Or if you've got a hot litter. You know, we've had that litter that, yeah,
The
exactly.
pods,
you know, I had the pure mixes. You know, my little golden mixes. They all were adopted in 36 hours. The amount of applications that came in was insane. And so it's really important to. So that's an inquiry. An inquiry is good. So Rachel, who you met earlier, she sends all those emails out to everybody. I used to handle all that, and I just can't.
Yeah, it's a
so
lot.
Rachel does that now.
Probably 60 emails a day. To sift through, and she does that all on her own time.
And she works too.
So another
She's a
thing about that
ATSS.
is, as far as like an inquiry comes through, don't get discouraged if they don't answer you back, because chances are they're looking at 5 other dogs at the same time, and whoever gets back to them the fastest is most likely who they're going to go with. So just don't beat yourself up about it.
It's going to happen.
It'll happen.
Trust
when
me.
it's ready.
You know, and that's the other thing too. A lot of people, and that's one of the things I remember when I first started rescuing with Jamisa with Roxy's Canine, which is who we were with originally. That was the one thing that sticks in my brain. She always used to tell me, if they've applied for your dog, they've applied for 10 others too. So don't get your feelings too hurt. You know, it just is what it is. So get your dog posted. The inquiry comes into you. The second type of email you would receive would be from one of the adoption counselors. And you're going to be copied on an email that she is sending out, and that means there's an application. Application's a whole different animal, because that's someone we're going to take a little more seriously than an inquiry, because they've gone that step for the application. So the first thing when you've got an application, that's going to really require you communicate. First thing I do is I'll just send a quick email to the potential adopter and say, hey, this is Debbie. Jiffy's in my home. I'd love to share more information about you while the ladies work your out. And I stop there. And then I let them come back to me with conversation. And then I go from there expanding. And in the meantime, the girls are working the application. They're going to communicate with you privately to find out, if you've gotten an email back from them and you got you didn't like something they said, or they're going to listen to you.
You do have a say in where your dog goes, because you know them better than we do.
Yeah.
And
sometimes in a casual, especially if you get them on the phone, sometimes you might get a more casual conversation with that person, and they may share something that they don't share, on the application. Now, I will tell you, I've gotten to the point now, I don't have a lot of time, so I don't do a whole lot of communicating with my potential adopters. I really trust these gals implicitly. They're like,
Terry is amazing.
They're like Nazis. I mean, they're like,
they'll Google Earth
they
addresses.
snipe their houses. They call their vets.
To me.
Terry and them,
She sent me a
stalker.
picture.
Yeah, stalker.
Yeah, she sent me a picture of the house and was like, "Do you see this fence? I think your dog is too small. It's gonna go through the." And I'm like, "How did you see that on there?"
Exactly. So these ladies, I trust them with my dogs. So I don't.
And it's a really good help, because I know when I had Xena and her puppies, one of them, I forgot who said no, because she had put on her application that she was going to be outside for most of the time, which we say no.
Right.
But Julie, I said, Julie, she seems really, really nice. She showed me pictures of her backyard. I just want you to take a look at her one more time. And we ended up adopting with her because of the amount of shade and custom built dog house that she had for her. And then Buddy, of course, her vet, was
Right.
Buddy,
Right.
which everybody knew, which it
Right.
was just like, so they do take on what we say as, hey, I really like this adopter. She really, really, really was nice. I need somebody to look at her application one more time.
And that's critical, and you're absolutely right,
Yeah.
because there's also things like, you know, we say no.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the big hurdles we had to get with the East
Yeah.
Coast when they were doing the applications, they don't have fenced yards. We can't adopt them. I said, most people don't have fenced yards in the East Coast.
They've got
So
giant yards.
we have to think differently.
Yeah.
So that became an education process too.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have their dog up to date on heartworm meds. They don't do heartworm meds on the West Coast. So it was a lot of things we didn't know. So, and they didn't know. You know, we just assumed that they knew. So a lot of, and it's also a great way to go get their, you know, sometimes, well, their dog's not up to date, but they're going to go and send us copies of all their proof that they got them up to date. But isn't that a red flag that they didn't have their dogs up to date? Okay, I'm going to be really honest with you, and I'm going to ask all of you, how many of your dogs are up to date on their boosters? Mine are.
No, I have two seniors that I didn't get vaccinated.
Yeah,
Mine are
my
old.
dogs have had so many years of boosters. I don't continue to booster them. Plus, my dogs are exposed to parvo and everything on a daily basis. Their immune system. If anything, I would go do a titer test to see if they really have it. I just did rabies on ours, and they were 2 years expired. So I'm one of those on the other end when she said, "Well, the dogs are not up to date on shots." I'm gonna go, "Well," and she goes, "I know, Debbie. Here it comes." Because I'm gonna say to her, "Well,
Or work schedule.
Yeah.
And pretty much
I don't
everybody
do it
works.
either. I'm not good." So if that person is willing to go get it done, provide proof, to me that shows, you know,
Yeah.
because
Willingness to, yeah.
I'm just not that onto somebody about those regular boosters. I'm just not, especially East and West Coast. They don't have the illnesses we deal with here. They do not have, you know, they don't have distemper. They don't have parvo. They have winter, life freezes. So you have to, somewhere in our brains, we have to become rational. We also have, well, they really want her to be an outdoor dog, and we're looking at so and so, and then in April's like, I can't get her inside. The dog wants to be outside. Well, that's different. Okay, and also too, remember the weather up there. They have, you know, 6 months out of the year of 70 and gorgeous, you know, versus 112. I want to live outside too on those days. So a lot of it's, we have to use some common sense. And
Well,
so,
here's an example of the opposite side of that. Tessa you see running around here.
Yeah.
I had a great adopter for her about a year and a half. Local adopter, judge,
a big judge here in
big
San Antonio.
judge. And he has this amazing backyard, has a beautiful 120-pound German Shepherd. Tessa can't live outside because of the skin infections that she had. And so I get there, everything looked good. We pretty much
Beautiful
approved the
home.
application. I drove over there, everybody was excited to get her. And it was real obvious that his German Shepherd lived outside. And well taken care of, beautiful dog, no problems, well mannered. I said, she can't live outside. And the family was devastated and he was perturbed. I hope I never end up in his courtroom.
Yeah, he was not happy, but
Because
we
I didn't
told him
leave her.
no.
I didn't leave her. She could not live outside.
No, she has too many flare-ups, and so, and that's where, and I've adopted one of my pups down toward the valley to an incredible family. They live on like 100 acres, and she was going to be outside a lot, but their whole life was outside, you know, and it was with the dogs, and so there has to be some common sense. We have rules, but you know, it's like we always say. You know, I used to tell the kid. When we were fostering with this other rescue, well, they didn't foster if you weren't married because, you know, what if you split up, where was the dog going to go? And they didn't foster if you were married because you might get a divorce. And
God forbid you work.
And then if you worked, you couldn't adopt a puppy. And then
No apartments.
no apartments because you didn't have any place for them to rent. And this is all true. I'm not lying, are we?
No.
No. And I finally said, I give up. I'm just going to keep them all forever because I can't. Nothing. You're not approving any of my flipping applications for
Nobody
my
was
puppies.
good enough.
You know, nobody was good enough. And I'm like, you know, we all want perfect. We all want amazing. We all want those pictures of our dogs hiking up in Oregon on a snow-tipped mountain, okay? Or out in the middle of a kayak, you know, or whatever. The reality is, we have such a volume here, we need good homes.
Yep.
Sometimes we hit pay dirt and we get fantastic, great homes, but we need good homes.
And perfect can't be the enemy of great.
No, exactly. So,
Very well said.
Yeah. So, you know, we have to, and I have to rein Terry in all the time because Terry does not like to adopt puppies to people that work. And I'm like, then I am a shit dog owner because I have puppies. And I still have puppies. And so that's not fair. It's just not fair. The good news is they're only puppies for a brief period of time. So what's your plan? You know, so that's where we ask you to. So anyway, that's applications. Does everybody understand the difference of an inquiry and an application? Because that really tends to be a confusion. And if somebody starts communicating with you, wanting to set up a play, they've given away 3 dogs, and just this list of things, and you don't know any of that in person, but you really like them because they were really nice and your dog was really attentive. But then you look at that app and you go, this sucks, And so that's to help with that, and that's to protect you and not waste your time. We all are on limited time. You're all volunteers, and without you, we can't do what we do. So we just encourage you. We're trying to protect your time. We're not trying to be a pain. And the ladies take their job, our volunteers that do our applications, take their job very serious. Very serious. And some of you have been on the receiving end of a little bit of a battle on some situations, so remember too, they're volunteers also. And like Terry the other day, she spent 9 hours working applications. 9 hours. On a given Monday, we'll have 30 in the queue from over the weekend because they don't touch them on Sundays. Okay? That's a lot of time. They call vets. And trust me, they call. They call their references.
That's when Craig got, he had an adopter got turned down because Michelle called the vet twice. She said that she had an appointment for her vet, dogs to get shots.
Never went, never had the appointment. Yep. Just lying to us. And we get that a lot. We get lied to, people, they'll do. We've had them, we've turned down a family and then they have another family member apply.
They try to get sneaky.
And they busted on it. And so these ladies, they're your biggest advocate for protecting your dog. So I encourage you to work with them, to try. They will listen to you, but I'm really good. When they tell me somebody's approved for me, I'm good.
Great.
I really do. But again, I have puppies, and so it's a little different. So now you've gotten your dog posted. You've gotten an inquiry or an application. They then send everything's approved. You like the adopter. They like your dog. They pay the adoption fee. That's what finalizes the adoption. Not I'm going to pay next Friday. Not I'm going to pay in 2 weeks. Not I'm going to pay you $50 a week for the next 6 weeks. When the adoption fee is finally paid, that's when the dog is adopted. There's also a reason for that. We've been there. We've held dogs for weeks and bought into great conversation. And then they change their mind at 7 weeks on an adult. Been there. We've done it. There are reasons we say no. Now, does that mean that it may not come up that we actually work with somebody and do it different? Yeah, we still will. We've given dogs to people, guys. If it's the right situation and it's... we gave that yellow lab up to a family up in Bernie, and it's an incredible relationship, but they were looking for a service dog potential. Dr. G had done the vetting on the dog. We didn't have any money in the dog other than posting time and energy, and it was an incredible family, and he's going to be a service dog, and he qualified for everything. We just actually got notification last week that he passed. We gave them that dog,